started out as a Republican. I was a Republican in high school. And even when I was at K-Rock, Kevin Bean sent me to interview Dan Quayle. Then Penn Jillette and Kurt Loder told me that I was a libertarian, and I didn't know what that meant. And it wasn't really until I left MTV and started doing talk radio that I really started kind of exploring libertarianism. And then when I got to college and studied a little bit more political philosophy and started reading that kind of stuff, I was like, oh, yeah, I am a libertarian. And I am absolutely a philosophical libertarian.
So what would make one a libertarian?
Well, I mean, you start by wanting the government to be less intrusive. And it usually starts with something personal, like, the government forces you to do something with a piece of private property that you think you own, and you have a right to determine what you do with your land. Or, it's something like a school board shoving a certain philosophy down your throat, and as a parent having no recourse, and then kind of being dubbed the enemy. It's like people whose businesses were shut down during COVID. And anytime the government has done something aggressively oppressive, that for you, there is no recourse. The instinct to want justice and want your own autonomy back, that's a very libertarian. And I mean that as a philosophical libertarian. It doesn't mean you're a member of the Libertarian Party. It just means you want to be the determiner of your own choices. I do own a gun. I am a religious person. I don't think that everyone needs to be religious. I don't think that everyone needs to own a gun, but the government makes it really, really hard to buy a gun in the state of New York, and they make it just as difficult to buy ammo. Every time I go to the sporting goods store to buy a box of ammo, I have to submit myself to a background check. Same with sex workers. I don't think that people who are engaging in consensual activities necessarily need to be prosecuted or rescued from their own choices by government. But there are a lot of conservatives who think that prostitution is wrong, that prostitution and sex work are the scourge of society. And, again, I go back to my original point is people should be able to make their own bad choices as long as those choices don't negatively affect other people.